Yo, what's up, guys? Happy Tuesday night. Let's go through some bets. Well, it looked like that line just moved. Well, maybe it's still available. This play I locked in earlier, it looks like it's still available. Memphis plus 6.5. I mean, this bet seems pretty good. All the other sports books, this plays on Fliff, right? You look at all the other books, they have the spread at 5.5. So if Memphis loses by 2 field goals, if they lose by 6 points, you're going to cash the plus 6.5 on Fliff. All the other books, 5.5. So 5.5 versus 6.5 in football. Pretty impactful. So that's one bet you could go with on Fliff. I locked it in. I locked it in earlier. I'm not sure if the line moved, though. But anyways, why don't we start with Underdog? Although we can recap PrizePicks. I gave out some Taco Tuesday plays today. This one looks pretty good. This one looks pretty good. Hopefully Snell can get one more, and then this one, meh. But regardless, let's find some bets. So without further ado, we can start on Underdog. We can start on PrizePicks. I lost the Freeman play. You definitely, I mean, not in hindsight, but we went with this under. He's already at 3 total bases. That doesn't feel too great. But without further ado, let's start to look for some bets on, where should we start? Underdog Fantasy, why not? So again, I always recommend having as many of these books as possible. Today, Underdog Fantasy had this promo on Freeman. Obviously, our bet lost. PrizePicks has Taco Tuesday. So the more books you have, the more promos you're going to have access to. And these promos, it's the easiest money you're going to make sports betting is when a sports book is, giving you a promo. And then again, you never know which book is going to fuck up their lines and have good bets, have value on a given day. Right? Like Memphis plus 6.5 is a clear slam. The rest of the market's at 5.5, and that play's only available if you have Fliff. But anyways, maybe we start out on Underdog. We can go over to CSGO. Take a look at some of the lines. Again, if you're new to the live streams, esports, probably not a sport you've thought about betting on too much. But what's great about esports is there's a lot of games, right? And all these books, PrizePicks, Underdog, they all set lines independently. You never know which book is going to screw up, mess up their lines on a given day. So the more books you have, the more sports you're betting on, the better. More surface area, for the sports books to cover. So where do we want to start? So we can start with Dota. Maybe we can take a look here. Is there anything available? It doesn't look like there's many plays available. So what kind of sucks about esports, though, is when you think about, betting on the NFL, something like that, is you have tons of data points to compare to. So Purdue first half money line at plus 160 looks pretty solid. All the other books around plus 145-ish. And, in college football, there's tons of sports books on the positive EV tool, that are posting lines. So here's a play on Play Now. I have no idea what this sports book is. I think it's a Canadian sportsbook, but they're screwing up their lines big time. Points bet here. But long story short, more books you have, the better. But let's go over to esports. Let's take a look at Underdog Fantasy. But again, what kind of sucks about esports is there's just less data points. There's less books posting lines in the first place. So we can take a look here, right? This is the first play OddsJam's recommending. And again, very simple software. All it does is it scans the tens of thousands of lines on every damn sports book and points out value. So many people, get confused, and it's finding value, just like an investor looks for value. It's going to help you win more bets. So if you look at this player, Bymus, right? Underdog has his line at 38.5. Okay, good to know. You can see PrizePicks has his line at 36, JockMKT 36.5. So again, we want to use all this information to make better bets. All these books set lines independently. So we want to use that information to our advantage. So you can see here, this guy's line is 38.5 on Underdog. JockMKT's nah, it should be lower at 36.5. PrizePicks is no, it should be even lower at 36. Hot Streak has the line at 37.5. And this is a sports book, so they have juice. They're juicing lines towards the under, right? They have the line lower than Underdog, and they have the under as the juiced outcome. So this seems like a good play to go with. And we can go ahead and we can lock it in. And again, it's been a light day on PrizePicks, but what sucks about PrizePicks is, they ended up limiting me to $25 a bet, which sucks. So all my bets are just going to be Smaller on PrizePicks, but, I'll still lock in some plays. But anyways, let's go on to the next play on Underdog Fantasy. We can just take a look at, the CSGO value. I don't really give a shit what sport I'm betting on. If there's an edge, I'll be happy to bet it. So the next play it's recommending, so these players are in the same game, so you probably only want to pick one of them. You can just pick your favorite one. So you can see here, DRG, his line is 31.5 on Underdog. Once again, all the books have his line lower. Hot Streak has the under favored. Doesn't seem like ParlayPlay, which is another fantasy site. They haven't dropped CSGO lines yet, but it's okay, cool. We found 2 plays with value. But again, we don't want to include them in the same slip since those players are on opposing teams. So here you can see another play, right? Slowy under 36, Hot Streak 33.5. PrizePicks 34. And it seems simple, but finding value in the market, all these books have invested millions of dollars in their ability to set lines. This is a $1 billion company, PrizePicks. You're not going to create better projections for tennis total games than PrizePicks can do. So that's why you at least want to find some value in the market. But anyways, it looks like there's some other player props we can take a look at. Early WNBA value. Again, great lines, they're not going to last forever. So a lot of people, they want to wait till closer to game time. And that's fine. But a lot of these lines, you'll see them get bumped. So a lot of the value goes away. So, you want to try to get these good bets down as quickly as possible. But anyways, it's the concept doesn't really change. Here you can see Kayla McBride. Underdog has her line at 17. Caesars has her at 15.5. With the under favored, right? They have the line at 15.5 with the under as the favored outcome. So Caesars is she's more likely to go under 15.5 points, more likely to go under as opposed to over. Underdog is sitting at 17. So, it's kind of like a Bloomberg terminal. You want to use all this information to your advantage. DraftKings has the line lower at 16.5 with the under as the favored outcome. And it's not sexy following the data, but hey, that's what makes money. So we can do a 5-man slip. We could also do a 3-man slip. Again, in terms of the EV, damn. So we got some NFL plays. Isaiah Pacheco, under 58.5 yards. I don't think a bunch of books have released odds for Sunday yet, but we can take a look. So you can see Pacheco, right? Underdog 58.5. We have 2 other data points saying, no, his line should be lower, right? And it seems simple, right? But everyone loves to overcomplicate sports betting. It's people want to look at last 5 games. It's all this stuff is irrelevant. It's already baked into the market, right? All these books, what makes sports betting so profitable is the market is very fragmented. All these books have different lines from one another. I mean, this is the same bet, right? What is Pacheco? How many yards is he going to rush for? And you have a 10% discrepancy between PrizePicks and Underdog. That's crazy, right? It's like going to Fidelity. You see a stock is worth $58.50. Then on Robinhood, it's $53.50. Doesn't make sense. So anyways, we can take a look at... So we can take Pacheco. I mean, we might as well make a 5-man slip. Why not? We got a little Wednesday action. Early at night, late at night, early in the morning, midday, night. Then we got a Sunday play. So it looks like the most random slip of all time. But hey, we're just trying to find value in the market. Wherever it is. Who cares? Who fucking cares? If the bet's profitable, if there's value, if there's an edge, why wouldn't we bet on it? But anyways, we can go over to, I wanted to go to passing yards. So it looks like college football props are starting to come out. You can't bet on college football props in every state. But here, you can see, this way, it kind of looks like FanDuel's the one screwing up here. So if you have access to FanDuel, you can see they're sitting with Hartman's line at 250.5. All the other books around 241.5. So here, Boom Fantasy, they have the line at 236.5, right? So what you could do is you could middle bet this. You would take the over 236.5 on Boom Fantasy, the under 250.5 on FanDuel. Again, you're just going to need multiple sports books, which you should have anyways, but you never know where the value is going to be. George Kittle under in receptions. I mean, we can take a look at some other CSGO plays, and we'll try to build a 5-man. Again, on Underdog, they give you pretty good payouts for these 3x entries. They give you a 6x payout. PrizePicks is only 5x for 3-pick entries. So in general, we end up going, if you go through the math behind Underdog Fantasy, you'll see 3-pick entries with no insurance, and then 5-pick entries or 4-pick entries with insurance are best. You don't want to play 2-pick entries. But anyways, if we go here and we go to player kills, we can take a look here. And we can go through so here it's this play seems incredible too. Ottend, his line is 36.5 on Underdog, 33.5 on Hot Streak. What you could do as well is you could middle this. Take the over 33.5, the under 36.5. It's like buying a stock for 33.5. Then you flip it, you sell it for 36.5. Right? It's like we found this crazy discrepancy in the market. So what we can do is we can go ahead, we can take this under, but these players are in the same game, so that's not going to work. So we still have 4 picks. I'm looking for one last one. So we can check out, perks. Although this player's in the same game, so again, we're not going to be able to bet it anyways. All these players are in the same game. So into the breach, these players were in the same game, right? DRG, Slowy. Did we already have a play in this game? Bymus versus Sharks. So we already have. So you don't want to bet on players on the same team. But anyways, damn, we got Colorado, Oregon this weekend. That's going to be crazy. But if we want to say fuck it, we can include this KBO play. In general, PrizePicks seems to be, the sharper side. So if we go here, what we can do is we can go to KBO, and we can take a look right here. Min Hao Kang, over 1 hits plus runs plus RBIs. It doesn't really matter if you insure the entry or you don't insure the entry for 5-pick entries. But this will be the first play we go with on Underdog Fantasy. So if you want to tail it, we got a sweat. So we got an NFL sweat. Hopefully all these other players cash us out before. And then we have a 5-pick entry on Underdog Fantasy. As you can see right here, hopefully it's big enough. You can see all 5 picks. But that's the first play we can go with. What's up, guys? Gallon in Memphis. Where you at, Mark? No, I'm not on FanDuel. But, I use FanDuel, but not currently. And the reason I don't use it currently is depending on where you're located, you're going to have different sports books that are legal. I'm just looking at the chat. Depending on where you're located, you'll have different sports books that are legal in your location. There's hundreds of sports books out there. PointsBet, Play Alberta, I assume that's in Canada. Proline, that's a Canadian sportsbook, Bet365. So just depending on where you're located, you'll have different sportsbooks, but the same concepts, finding value in the market, all that stuff, it applies to any sport, any sports book. Really, it's not that complicated. In general, making money sports betting. Find an edge, rinse and repeat. A lot of people ask me, why did you bet $100 on this? That's the max bet size I can get on Underdog. The hard part isn't finding profitable bets as much or understanding the strategy. The hard part is really getting down volume because, again, books will try to screw you every which way. They'll throw limits at you, whatever. But the great thing is there's tons of sports books. So if PrizePicks, whatever, isn't letting me bet as much, just do more slips on Underdog. So anyways, we got our first play on Underdog Fantasy. What's up, guys? CSGO picks. We just hit some CSGO picks. So PrizePicks. Okay, so we can take a look at PrizePicks. Again, I have very low betting limits on PrizePicks in general, but we can take a look at PrizePicks. And again, if you go through the math behind PrizePicks, a lot of people ask, why do you only play, these 5-pick entries or 6-pick entries? And it's because that is the optimal, slip type. Hopefully Snell goes over. Need him to get one more. But, and essentially, if you go through PrizePicks, if you, take their payouts, what you can do, so like 2-pick entries have a 3x payout. What you can do is you can back out what percentage of your bets do you have to win to be profitable on PrizePicks, right? So like this would be a bet. Lamar over under 220.5. And what you'll see is if you're playing 2-pick power plays, you have to win 57.8. It's more like 57.7%, but whatever. You have to win 57.7% of your bets to be profitable. So let's say you can win your prop bets like Lamar over under 220.5. Let's say you can win prop bets like Lamar over under 220.5 56% of the time. You're losing money. Your ROI is negative 6% on 2-pick entries, whereas for 5-pick flex plays, it's 12%, right? So it really matters what type of slip you go with on each platform. It's really important. Just in terms of your ROI, because all these platforms, right, PrizePicks has fixed payouts. So it all boils down to what percentage of your picks can you win. Man, Daniel Jones. But anyways, we can go over to PrizePicks and we can take a look at like, whatever. Again, there can be value on any sports book. I say that in every video, but it's true. That's why you want to have more books. All these books have tens of thousands of lines that are available. Underdog Fantasy, they have a lot of surface area to cover. They're pretty good at setting lines, but sometimes they screw up. They miss line movements, stuff like that. So if we look at this player, Doc, right? Like, okay, what did I just do? PrizePicks has his line at 32. All the other books at 34.5, whatever. Or 32.5, 34, 34.5. But long story short, you get the point. Like, this is a play with value. These other books, and a lot of people will say, oh, you don't know what he did in the last 2 games. It doesn't matter. Well, it really doesn't. It's already priced in to the market, right? The weather. A lot of people look at the NFL and they're like, oh, it's going to snow. I'm taking the under. The sports books already know. The market already knows. So if a hurricane comes out of nowhere and it's going to be raining hard, the total will move lower over the course of the week. People are going to bet it down. So like the market reacts to new information. Just like if a company has a really good earnings report, their stock price will go up. The market is reflecting new information that the company is making a lot of money. But anyways, let's go back here to PrizePicks. So we have one play. And we can just kind of take a peek at like, okay, what other plays? So this play is not going to work. Again, on PrizePicks, you can't bet CSGO players on the same team. So we're going to have to skip that over. Bijan Robinson over 68.5 looked good. All the other books have his line higher. Nope. So that can be our second pick. And then you can see it's recommending 2 other esports plays. It's not like that important, but if you want to kind of like just see the market, you can kind of like pull it up, right? And the way I think about it, and again, I used to be a trader, so I think in a very market-oriented way, data-oriented way. Some people don't, but you get the point. Is like, okay, Underdog Fantasy, right? ParlayPlay have the line higher at 40.5. That's a piece of information for us to consider to make better bets. JockMKT has the line at 41. Another sports book with a sophisticated model that's moving around lines due to where action's coming in. Like, a lot of people forget that the lines move, right? Like, you can see here, lines have been ripping towards the Raiders. Maybe it's sharp action. Maybe it's lineup changes. Maybe somebody on the Steelers got injured. Maybe after, Monday Night Football, people are like, the Steelers suck, and lines move towards the Raiders. But the market has adjusted to having the Raiders as more likely to win the game. So, like, these books will move around lines. So we have all these different betting markets. It's like if you were a day trader and the price of a stock was $39 on E-Trade and every other platform had it at 41, 39.5. You'd want to bet the over, or you'd want to buy the stock. And you can see Hot Streak here. You also want to consider the juice, is they have the over as the favored or the juiced outcome, right? They have higher juice, more juice towards the over. So they're saying like, yo, we think this guy's more likely to go over as opposed to under. So anyways, we can go here and we can lock in over 39. This is from a different game, so we're fine on correlation. On PrizePicks, you can't bet on players from the same team. And in CSGO. You can in League of Legends. So once again, right, it's like, keep it simple, stupid. You know, like, find value in the market, hit the frickin' play. And we have 4 overs, so a lot of overs value on PrizePicks. And you can kind of see here, like, okay, you know, you can see there's some different options. Again, I'm not even sure if I'm going to bet this. So this is from the same game, so I can skip it over. So a lot of people like these ones where there's only 2 data points, these headshot lines, it's only PrizePicks versus Underdog Fantasy. So you have less confidence in like, okay, like what's the good side, right? What bet should I be placing? If there's just PrizePicks, and I have this, you know, from some of the earlier plays. Let's go, Blake Snell. Let's go. So my $5, you know, baby-sized Taco Tuesday bet. But hey, we're looking good. And again, like limits suck, but I always say it's just kind of like part of the game. Is the reason opportunities exist is the markets aren't that liquid. There's great middle bets. There's great, you know, arbitrage opportunities. But, you know, if all the smart people could bet as much money as they wanted, like there wouldn't be, you know, like it just sucks, but it's part of the game. But anyways, here's what we can go with. I don't even think PrizePicks is going to let me bet it. I think they will. Once we reach midnight Eastern, they'll let my betting limits reset. And it's bullshit when it says $4,000 a day. Because today I bet 15, 20, 45, 50, 50. I only bet $50 today, and it's telling me I hit my max betting limit of $4,000, which doesn't make any sense. So I think they're just screwing me. But anyways, here's what I would go with on PrizePicks. Again, I would tail it with you, but just not going to be how it works. So we have Doc over, Map 1-2 kills, Alcatet's over, Bijan over, Freeze over, Slend over. And again, some of these plays I had from an earlier slip, but regardless, if you want to tail, Doc, Bijan, and then here are the final 3 picks. So anyways, what up, guys? Yeah, seriously, talk to support. I don't see anything for McCaffrey, rush plus receiving. Should I take a look at it? I'm just looking at the comments. So if we go to NFL, rush plus receiving, and we can take a look at it. See what McCaffrey's at, just kind of check out the sportsbook screen. So it looks like all the books have McCaffrey at 112.5, right? There's no value in the market. There's no discrepancies. You're essentially just betting with your gut, which, I mean, you can do it, but, you know, probably not going to work long term. Everyone bets with their gut, and they all lose money overall. That's why PrizePicks is in business. Most people don't understand how to use data to, you know, beat the books. Daniel Jones over in rushing yards. So this play seems decent on ParlayPlay. So again, like more books we got, the better. It seems like there's some value on ParlayPlay. We could do a slip if we wanted to, or we could go back to Underdog Fantasy. We already got a 5-pick entry. So if you're just tuning in, like these 5, you can see they already bumped Alex, but whatever. But anyways, what did we lock in on So here's what we locked in on Underdog. Decent day on PrizePicks, but again, they just like cut the betting limits lower. So it doesn't really matter. Doesn't matter that much, you know, compared to like Underdog Fantasy where we're betting $100. But anyways, here's what I locked in on Underdog. If any of the plays moved, you know, take it as a 2-pick entry or a 3-pick entry without insurance. Like some of these lines move quickly. Like they just literally removed Kayla McBride, which is crazy. But again, like that's why you want to get on these lines quickly. The plays with value won't last forever. But anyways, if we go here, we can take a look at like rushing yards. So you can see like ParlayPlay 35.5, rest of the market a lot higher, 39.5, 37.5. 38.5 on Caesars with the over as the favored outcome. So they have the over juice, the over's favored. You know, sometimes, you know, we can check out Hot Streak as well. There have been some big discrepancies on Hot Streak. That's another sports book. It's available in most states. So just something to keep an eye out for. But anyways, we can go back to the positive EV tool right here. So this tool is mainly for sports books. So it looks like there's some good value on FanDuel. Soccer is actually my most profitable sport on FanDuel. I currently don't have access to it, but when I'm betting on FanDuel. WinBet's also a great sports book. but I think they're going bankrupt. But anyways, the more books again, the better. I don't know which of these books are legal in your state, but I'm sure you can see like, okay, there's some bets on FanDuel, PointsBet, Circa, WinBet, more books better. But anyways, we can go back here. We can take a look at Underdog Fantasy. We already got one play, but maybe we can find another that we can go with. So it's a lot of the same plays. Although, yeah, it's a lot of the same plays. So anyways, hopefully, although we can check anytime touchdown scores as well. Maybe they released these. Last weekend, we found some really good value in, what's it called? So this play, we ended up cashing out on the live stream earlier. I meant to take Bradley. See, this is good. If you were on the live stream earlier, we wanted to take Bradley over 6. They bumped it up to 6.5. I accidentally bet it. Here's a perfect example of why it matters if you play bumps or not, right? I was trying to bet it over 6, which would have pushed, right? He ended up getting 6. So over 6.5 would have lost, which is why I canceled the entry. And granted, it's only for $5, but I mean, you get the point. But anyways, there's a lot of value. We had a lot of plays. Unders, pass plus rushing plus receiving TDs. There was a lot of value on PrizePicks. Hopefully there's value again this week. It doesn't really look like we can take a look at Justin Jefferson. So it doesn't look like sportsbooks if we search for JJ. It doesn't look like they've dropped Jefferson's, lines yet. So whatever. Some good bets on FanDuel. What else do we want to talk about? I mean, anything else that's interesting, worth discussing? So here, some big discrepancies in second quarter money line in the Colts game. So these are arbitrage bets. Arbitrage is when sportsbooks, when their models get super out of sync with one another, that you can bet equal and opposite outcomes on two sportsbooks to make a risk-free profit, right? When can you make a risk-free profit when sportsbook models get super out of sync? That's essentially what arbitrage is. And you can see there's some good ones on PointsBet, but PointsBet has pretty shitty betting limits. So like here, if you wanted to arbitrage bet this, you just pull up the calculator. Let's say you bet $180 on PointsBet. Tells you to bet $96.55 on DraftKings, and that's going to be your risk-free profit, $355. And there's a bunch of tutorial videos online about sports betting arbitrage, stuff like that. So we can pull up Fliff as well. Doesn't seem like there's anything crazy out there. So we'll call it a day for now. Some value on ParlayPlay, James Cook. But anyways, whatever. We'll call it a live stream, trying to keep these tighter. But hopefully this was helpful. And